What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Lounge. As always, super excited to get with you guys today. We're going to be talking about NFL today, going through week number 10. I have my co-hosts, Mark Crandall and was it Dice Will? We got Dice Will in the building. We got a Charger and a Green Bay Packer, and you know me, I'm your Philadelphia Eagles specialist here. But we're gonna get cracking on what recapping week 10. We're going to give you guys our top five, and we're just going to talk probably, sporadically, just a little bit about football, what we've seen this last week, and what we can look forward to see on Thursday Night Football. But go ahead, before we do any of that, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors. Go ahead and hit us with those sponsors, Mr. Mark Randall.
First off, we got, of course, Brian Martino Construction. If you need any of your construction needs, just hit up Brian at Martino Construction at gmail.com. Secondly, we have Number One Sports Fan with locations in Tulare, Visalia, and Hedford. You need any of your sports merchandise, hit up one of those locations. They'll take care of you there. Thirdly, we have Cali Built Graphics, who takes care of all of our shirt needs and any type of hats, anything like that. He will take care of. Just hit up Rigo over there. And last but not least, of course, we are powered by Mikey.
The Mogul brand. You know
There
it.
it is.
Yes, sir.
There it is. So we want to thank our sponsors for that. And then, go visit them, let them know the Sports Lounge sent you, and, they'll take care of you. So on to there. Let's get on tonight's show, man. Let's get on tonight's show.
Yeah, let's recap. What is one of the games that stuck out to you guys going through week number 10? We'll start with let's go with Dupree. What you got, Dupree?
For me, it's the Bengals Ravens. The Ravens are constantly not playing
Such a good game.
at the end of the game. I don't know what's going on. These past few games, you've seen their defense start lacking, and it gets and the score gets getting too high.
I'm gonna say that was a shootout. That was a shootout right there.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I think the Bengals screwed up on that game by not going at least for the tying field goal there at the end of the game. I give them respect. They're like, we're going for the win. We ain't playing for a tie. So, but I mean, sometimes you win some. Obviously, sometimes you lose some. But to me, it's like I would have took my chances in overtime with that coin toss. But no, I agree on that one. Mikey, what do you think? What was the game that stood out to you?
There was a lot of them. I mean, we can go down the list. I mean, the Panthers beating the Giants. You can go with the Chiefs losing again, 14-16, or winning. The Chiefs winning again, 16-19. I have a question for you guys as we're talking about these. Do you guys think that the Chiefs are ever going to lose a game?
Oh, no, I already saw the script. They're saying it's going to be the Lions and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to win 54-50 in the Super Bowl, with the Chiefs being 17-0.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay, going on. Carrying on, though, real quick. What game stood out to me was probably, I'll go with the Lions and the Texans. Man, I'm going to go with the Lions and the Texans. I was watching that game, and I looked at that game, and, the Titans definitely put up some numbers in the first half, but just couldn't. I don't know what they were doing in the second half, kind of lost sight of what exactly they wanted to do after halftime, and let the Lions come back and win by a field goal. And in this league, you have to continue to score. In this league, you have to continue to play defense. Just because you're up by 23 doesn't mean that this game is over. But I still think that it's a strong Texans team. I think that they made some critical mistakes in the second half, and then obviously it ruined their chances of winning that game. I think there's a lot of chances they could have kicked field goals, a lot of chances they could have made plays happen, and it bit them at the end of the day. So I'm gonna go with that game.
What you got? That was a good game. The game that do we really want to go there, guys? You know where I'm going with this.
Where are we going?
We're going with the Patriots and the Bears.
Oh God! Why?
I'm just saying, man.
Can you be
Yo,
brief though? Can you be
I,
brief? Not give us the long
You
sentiment
know
of
what?
it.
I'm gonna
Go with a different one. Go with a different one.
go. All right. I'll go with the
I mean,
different
we've
one.
been like we've been 7 shows on the Bears already, and I think it's time to move on from the
That's what
Bears.
I'm saying. Can he be
I'm just
brief?
saying.
Because he
I'm just saying.
didn't.
Have I not been right the entire time about Caleb Williams?
We'll give
That's
you
all I
that.
gotta say.
We'll give you that.
No, the game that stood out to me, honestly, we saw C-Mac come back from his injuries, and the Niners squeaking away with a game-winning field goal. What a lot of people don't, if you didn't watch the game, you won't, and if you're not a statistician like I am, you wouldn't realize that Jake Booty has come back also from injury, and he missed 3 field goals. So that game was a lot closer than what it should have been. Same thing, honestly, was the Commanders and Steelers. I thought that was a great game. It should have been 35-27, but ended up being a 1-point victory. But the one that really stood out to me the most, in all honesty, was probably the Cardinals and the Jets. The Cardinals weren't expected to be leading that NFC West, and they're leading right now at 6-4. But the Jets, I don't know. Is it time for Aaron Rodgers to call it quits? I mean, don't get me wrong. He was 22 of 35, which ain't a bad stat line on completions. But guys, he only had 151 yards on 22 completions. I mean, that Arizona defense is not that good to the point where it did what it did to the Jets. So I just don't think Aaron Rodgers, he wasn't sacked a lot. I think he got sacked like 3 times the entire game. Yeah, 3 times. But the thing that he struggled with doing was he could not hit Davante Adams. Davante had 6 receptions on 13 targets. So everyone knows where they're throwing. Aaron Rodgers is throwing to Davante Adams. Garrett Wilson has kind of got tossed on the back burner, but the longest reception for the entire game was 15 yards. And the longest run for the entire game was 14 yards. I mean, so there was literally no offense on that team whatsoever. I will say this. Quincy Williams probably had one of the nastiest hits I've seen on the season when he blindside sacked Kyler Murray.
Oof.
I don't know.
I seen that. I
I don't know. Yeah, that right there, I'm just like, you got hit so hard, your mama felt that one. I mean, that's exactly how that hit was. It was nasty.
Can't be getting hit like that.
No.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. I mean, the question is it time for Aaron Rodgers to call it quits? I think he has a year or two in him left, honestly. But let's go back to the statistics and what we are seeing in the NFL. Now, one of the things is that we do see a loaded Jets team. We see Bryce Hall back there. We see 3 strong wide receivers. You got Davante Adams, Garrett Wilson, and Lazar, obviously, and then you got your tight end. So what you just stated was that the fact that he's throwing the ball 35 times. He was 22 out of 35 and only 51 yards. There was only 10 carries in that game for 52 yards.
No, there was 17 carries. His backup also had I want to say it was like 7 carries or something like that.
Okay, so your leading rushing was 10 carries, 52 yards, Breece Hall. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the Cardinals schemed for Aaron Rodgers to throw a lot.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, is they should have did the exact opposite. And that's where this becomes what you like to say, like more of a chess game, right? So if you know that that's your expectation, if you know that Aaron Rodgers is going to throw, he has 3 wide receivers there. You scheme to that as a defensive coordinator to get that kind of production because you're like, hey, beat us with the run. beat us with a run. And if you can't beat us with a run, throw the ball, and it's just not going to go your way. So I think that they did a really good job on scheming that. Also, your leading receiving was 5 receptions, 41 yards by Garrett Wilson in that game. Let's get that production of 35. Let's get it down to 25. Let's do 10 less and give it 10 extra carries, and let's see what happens with that. Let's get the ball rolling by just pounding that football, and let's see if we can get the guys starting to get open down the field so that Rodgers can make those good, accurate throws. Nobody here is doubting the fact that Aaron Rodgers can still throw the ball. Nobody here is doubting that he can't throw it accurately, and nobody can doubt that the fact that he probably can throw a couple more Hail Marys and some dudes can catch it. What we're saying here is that this offensive scheme that they're running here is just not working. And so they need to go back and maybe dial it down with Aaron Rodgers and maybe pound the rock just a little bit more. And they might get a little bit more production. And you've seen that when they played against the Texans. If you go back to the Texans game, he did throw the ball for 32 yards, but there was 5 extra carries, 74 yards. Davante Adams did have a 91-yard game with 1 touchdown, but he had 211 yards in that Texans game with 3 touchdowns, right? So there was a little bit more production in the running game, and that's what we want to see is more production in the running game. And I guarantee you that, they will start getting guys open. But to be honest, I mean, a 3-7 Jet team, you can call your season over unless you're going to win the next 7 games. They're pretty much done. I mean, they got the Colts, the Seahawks, the Dolphins, the Jaguars. You still got the Rams and the Bills, and then you got the Dolphins again. They lose one more of those games, and you could just that's it for their season. So, but the initial question, is he over with? I think if he keeps the same team and comes back next year, you probably see a different outcome. And as long as everybody else stays healthy, that's my take on the question.
I think he has 1 year left in him, but I think he needs to do a little more time to focus, because if you look at the losses, besides for the big losses they had, obviously they lost by 13 to the Niners, they lost by 1 point to the Broncos, they lost by 6 to the Vikings, 3 to the Bills, they got smashed by 18 to the Steelers, lost by 3 to the Patriots, and then they got smashed by 25 to the Cardinals. So they've had some good, some close games. But for me, that's just my big thing where I'm just like, you got to figure out how to get over that hump. I mean, losing by 1 point to the Broncos, or you're playing a division rival and losing by 3 to the Bills at home. And then next you got to go, like 2 days before New Year's, you got to go to Buffalo.
Yeah.
I'm like,
here's the funny part. The funny part is that the fact that the Denver Broncos have the 7th seed right now, and they're 5-5. So they're only 2 games behind the Denver Broncos at the 7th seed. So the other teams that you got in the hunt right there is you got Indy, Cincy, Miami, and then the Jets. So is their season completely over? I don't think so, because those teams are beatable as well. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Miami. Really, I mean, Indy is unpredictable. Cincinnati is playing pretty strong. You could probably see them at that 7 seed. I'm still not a believer in the Denver Broncos yet. But I mean, the only other team at number 12 you got is the Patriots, which is a joke. But I mean, as far as the 2 teams that I see that could sneak into that 7th spot, if it's not Denver, it's gonna be either Cincinnati or the Jets. So that's what's funny.
I don't see the Jets sneaking in there. I mean, I see Cincinnati being right there at the 7th spot. And looking at Miami's schedule to finish off the season, I mean,
I don't got Miami or the Colts. That's gonna be tough. But the
I mean,
Broncos, but the Broncos do have the Falcons. They play the Raiders in division. They play the Browns.
Mhm.
They play the Colts. They play the Chargers, who is sitting right now at the sixth spot. And
They're
then
Yeah.
you play the Bengals that can potentially be a seven spot, right? And then you play the
Yep.
Chiefs to end off your season, which they could win that game at the end of the season if Andy Reid elects to, you know, sit all of his starters and then they win that game. They can stay right there at the seven spot.
You're
But
right.
I mean,
that's a lot, bro.
I don't think Denver finishes above 500. I think they're going to be 7-10, possibly, maybe 8-9. I don't see Denver finishing there.
Yeah.
As for the Colts, the Colts are playing the Jets, the Lions, the Patriots, Broncos, Titans, Giants, and Jags. They can beat the Jets. I think they can beat the Jets. I think they lose to the Lions. I think they beat the Patriots, the Broncos, the Titans. I mean, realistically, I think it's going to be the Colts. I'm looking at it. I think they can go a 6-1, possibly a 5-2 to finish the season. And if they do that, that'll put them at 9-8.
Flacco, and then Flacco does it again.
Yeah, Flacco does it again.
Off the couch, Flacco.
When you have the Bengals got the Chargers, Steelers, Cowboys,
Yeah,
Titans, Browns,
they're out.
Broncos,
They're out.
Steelers.
Yeah, they're
so
out.
the Bengals, you're playing,
There's no way.
No, you're
They
seeing maybe
the first half of the season, they needed to win those games.
Yes.
They needed to win those games in the first half of those games because the second half is ridiculous. So I don't
know. I mean, I think they had a well-rounded schedule. I mean, that loss in week 1 to the Patriots was a big one, but I can see them beating the Chargers. Steelers, that's a loss. Dallas, I think everybody beats Dallas right now. Titans, that's going to be a win. I mean, so let's say they take a Chargers loss. I'm going to give them a Chargers loss. So we got 0-1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 5-2. I mean, I've got the Bengals finishing off the season 5-2, which puts them at 9-8.
Yeah, they could possibly squeeze in there. So that's what I'm saying. That Sunday, 12/29 is going to be really probably who's going to be the 7th seed. Denver Broncos or the Bengals. That's probably going to determine who's going to sneak into that 7th seed.
Yeah. I mean, so that's what's going to be tough. Looking at this, so AFC is kind of up for grabs for that 7th seed. Even the Chargers at the 6th seed, in all honesty, I mean, Chargers are going to have it tough too. I mean, you got Cincinnati who's trying to play in. You got Baltimore, Atlanta, KC, Tampa. Then you got the Broncos, Patriots, and Raiders.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I only have them winning 3 more games. So that guess what? Puts them at 9-8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's going to be it could go either way. That's what I'm saying. If you flip to the other side too, I mean, right now you got Green Bay Packers. You got Green Bay Packers at 7, but right behind them, you got San Francisco 49ers. And then if you're thinking they can get healthy and get that 7 spot, that can raise some havoc in the playoff picture if you can get everybody healthy by the end of the season. I don't know if that could happen. And then the team that you're laughing about, the Bears, are right behind them at the 9 spot.
We ain't got to worry about the Bears, bro. The Bears are finishing off. The Bears are going to be lucky if they win 1 game rest of the season.
And then at 10-11, you got Rams and Seahawks. So potentially, I mean, it's looking,
I mean, the Niners can squeak in because I think the Niners can take over that division lead. When you look at the Cardinals, what they got left, you got Seahawks, Minnesota, Seahawks, Patriots, Panthers, Rams, Niners. So you got 1, 2, 3. You have 4 out of your next 2, 4, 6, 8 games. 4 out of your next 8 games. So 50% of your schedule is division rivals.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes it scary.
Because
you're gonna beat the Patriots. You're gonna beat the Panthers. I don't know about the Vikings. It just depends what Vikings. I don't know if you could beat the Seahawks twice. Maybe that could be a split. Um, and it might come down to that last game of the season, and
with the Niners.
and that's not going to be good for either of them.
No, because you're going to be playing everybody. You're going to be trying to win division because that might be one of two things. Either you win and get division, or you're not in the playoffs at all.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's going to be tough. Or you guys both make playoffs. Depending on who's under, who's over.
Yeah,
because you could squeak in there at the 7.
Now,
it might be 3-7 or something like that, and then have to play each other in the divisional round. But
now,
what happens if it's a back-to-back game?
Ooh.
Oh, it's been done before. It was just done a couple years ago.
What if they play them 1-5 and then their first game in the playoffs are each other? So whoever has home field is probably the one who's gonna.
Yeah.
Boy, I don't think it really matters for the Niners, but I think it's going to matter for the Cardinals.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it really matters for either because Cardinals are in a dome and Niners, it's never bad weather in Santa Clara.
True.
Yeah.
Especially right now.
That's gonna be interesting though.
I mean, the big one for me is looking at the Green Bay schedule. I mean, you got the Bears, which they'll beat. You got the Niners, which that's going to be a tough game now that C-Mac is back. The Dolphins should be a win. The Lions, that's going to be a loss. The Seahawks, that's going to be a tough game. The Saints should be a win. Minnesota should be
that might be tough.
That one should be a win. I don't know what it is with Minnesota and Green Bay. They have a tendency that neither one of them like to win at home. For the last I'm going to say like the last 3 or 4 years, Green Bay goes on the road and wins in Minnesota, and Minnesota goes on the road and they win in Green Bay. That's how it's been for like the last 3 or 4 years.
Obviously, the Lions are playing Thanksgiving, right?
Every Thanksgiving. Lions and Cowboys always have a game on those that day. It's
so tradition. Who do the Lions? Who's Lions playing? Thanksgiving.
On Thanksgiving, let's take a look.
The 28th.
Is that Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah, 28th. 11/28.
The Bears.
Oh, they play the Bears. Lucky them, because last year they played against Green Bay, right?
Yep.
Green Bay has the Dolphins this time. On that
Who
day.
else plays?
Green Bay.
I think Green Bay plays on Thanksgiving this year.
Yeah, they play Dolphins.
At what time? In the morning? Hopefully it's a morning game because that's a trash game.
It's a Thursday night game.
It's the night game?
It's the night game.
That's trash. They need to flex that.
Well, it's Dallas and you don't flex that game because Dallas and Detroit are always playing in the morning. Usually Dallas plays afternoon and Detroit plays first thing in the morning.
Right.
Who does Dallas got?
I don't think anyone really cares. Yeah, let's take a look. I mean, I might as well get prepared for what I'm going to be doing Thanksgiving, right?
All right.
Oh, dude, I got nap time, bro. Nap time is at 1:30, just so you guys know.
Who do they got?
The Giants.
Oh my God.
That game should just be canceled. That game just needs to be canceled. So, like I said, everyone out here, you guys watch the replay. Whatever's Thanksgiving Day, you got Detroit playing at first thing in the morning at 9:30 morning against the Bears, which we know that's going to be a shellacking. Then you got basically you can watch the first half of the game, and by then that game should be basically over. Then you can take a nice long nap. Because Dallas and the Giants, that is pathetic.
You're right.
I mean, and then you got Green Bay and Miami on Thursday night. I mean,
my request would be this. So we got what is that? NFC East, and then we got NFC. What is that? NFC North. What is the Lions? NFC North, right?
North.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got NFC North game. You got a NFC East game, and if you want to make it a whole NFC thing, maybe an NFC South game. Get your two top teams that are
And
in
play
your
on Thanksgiving.
division and play on Thanksgiving, bro. Same thing
Make
with Christmas. Same thing
it
with Christmas.
make it money.
Yep. Like just make it where you know what I'm saying. Like you're gonna get some good games, right? And it don't
Right.
have to be all NFC. You can put some AFC teams in there. Throw in the who do we have that would be a good matchup? We could have watched the Bengals and the Ravens play. You know what I'm saying? That would have been a good night game
Right.
that night. You know,
Don't forget, hey, don't forget we got a Black Friday game too.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we do.
You got the Raiders and the Chiefs at noon.
Which they could have
That
switched
would be
that.
that's
Or they
yeah. They could,
not because they could have, yeah.
I mean,
They could have.
yeah.
Just to see the
But
Chiefs
anyway,
win, but really. They could have switched it.
Thanksgiving week, guys, it's a horrible. I'm looking at the schedule across the board for Thanksgiving weekend. You got Chicago, Detroit, New York, Dallas, Miami, Green Bay, all bootsy games. I mean, you should have blowout, a nap time. Who nobody cares, and then blowout. Kansas City, Vegas, you should have blowout there. Then you got the Falcons, Chargers. That's a decent game. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, on Sunday. That's a decent game. Arizona, Minnesota, all right. Indy, New England, nah. Jets, Seattle, nah. Washington, Tennessee, boring game. Houston, Jacksonville, that's another boring game. Rams, New Orleans, boring game. Tampa, Carolina. I mean, Philadelphia and Baltimore. That's the only game. No, that one in San Francisco and Buffalo, man.
That's gonna
So
be a good one.
basically, literally the only games to watch Thanksgiving weekend that are going to be like, yo, let's I gotta be at home to watch this is the Philly Baltimore at 125, and then also the San Francisco
that's,
Buffalo on
and that's
Sunday Night Football,
man. And who
and
who's
the
playing?
Sunday
Who's playing?
there's the Niners and Buffalo.
Ah man, can we switch that? Could we
I
switch
mean,
Eagles and Baltimore? That sounds more like a.
I, it would be nice if they flex that. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
it'd
you'd
be,
get more
it would be.
ratings on a Sunday night game.
I mean, those are two high caliber teams, two quarterbacks that run. You got number one
Especially with the
running
Ravens
back,
at
number
home
two
too.
running back. Yeah, Ravens are at home. You got Eagles on the road. Two strong, one strong defense, and
Hmm.
yeah, that would be more interesting. But let's switch gears here. Let's talk about Thursday night before we give our top five in the next 3 minutes. So on Thursday night, guys, we got a Thursday night matchup. It's a rival game. Who takes division? Who's gonna take division, guys? This Thursday. Is Philadelphia gonna stay there at the number one spot, or are they gonna lose to Washington and in the link on Thursday night during the Vinny Curry retirement? What do we got? What do we got? We'll go with Dupree. Who's winning that game? I already know what he's going to say. Oh my gosh, let me
I know
brace
you would.
myself.
I know you would think I would say the Commanders because Jay Dallas is playing Rookie of the Year, but no, I'm still saying the Eagles will win this one. Their defense is still is a lot better, and he's still, even though he is proving he can play against caliber defenses in the NFL, I don't think he's getting out of this one alive.
I got
Which
Philly on this one. I think the coordinator and Jalen Hurts is playing like a quarterback, not a running quarterback.
yeah,
So
we talked
I
about
think
that earlier. That 2022 Jalen Hurts is coming out.
yeah, and so I think that's a big key factor for Philly. Um, and I got no problem saying it here, saying it now. Philly beats Washington. Um, for me, they're going into the top spot.
Hmm.
There we go.
Whoa.
Philly beats Washington. That's my answer to that. I mean,
How much do they have to win by? Does it even matter?
I don't think it matters. I mean, Because the other game you guys got to remember that's going to be a big one is Pittsburgh and Baltimore Sunday morning at 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
That's going to be a
that
tough one
rematch.
also. But actually, with that, Mikey, we don't even have to ask who you got winning on Thursday, so we're not even going to go there. But hey, let's go right
No,
into our top five.
No, let me give you my reason. Let me give you my reason. Look, the Eagles are running on all cylinders, right? So we have seen some good production. Obviously, we've seen what it looked like the last 4 or 5 weeks that they turned the corner, right? One of the things is not that we were looking at Jalen Hurts and saying you're a horrible quarterback, or looking at Saquon Barkley like, man, you can't run the ball, or AJ Brown is not a good enough wide receiver, or the defense is playing too sloppy that people are just not really gravitating towards if they can turn that corner. The question will always remain as it progresses, like, dang, the Eagles are actually getting better. But the question always that arises with the fact that is Nick Sirianni the guy for the job for this NFL, for the Philadelphia Eagles, by making wrong decisions against the Jaguars and allowing the Jaguars to come back with the way that they did, was the question that a lot of people had. Should Nick Sirianni be on that particular team and be calling those type of shots? And why is he calling these shots? Okay, so one of the things that I looked at in that game is that it was all scenario based, right? It was let's go for two, let's go for the fourth down instead of kicking the field goal. Let's make these different adjustments and things that we need to do in case later on in the playoffs, later on in tough games, we know what we have and we've ran them in a game. It kind of looked like a preseason game and it almost bit them, right? If it wasn't for Dean. But one of the questions that always will stick out and stick out until they win a Super Bowl is the fact that, is Nick Sirianni the guy? Is he the main guy that needs to be on this football team to get them over the hump? That question is still there. And it's going to be more evident as we watch them in a tough game and a tough matchup against the Washington Commanders when they play them this Thursday. Remember now, we did play Sunday. We both teams played on Sunday. We're on a short week. There's obviously no practice. And so with that, we want to see what team comes out, what team is hungry, and who's going to take division, and what does it all that look like on Thursday. Do I have the Eagles winning? Of course, 100%. I think that they have enough on both sides of the ball, being the top in the top 5 offense, top 5 defense in the whole entire NFL. And I still believe to this day that they have the number one roster in the league. I have them winning. I have them winning actually by 17 on that game.
Okay.
Go ahead. I think we have some questions here.
So one of them says, can Josh Allen?
Oh, wait, hold on. You got Josh Allen? Go ahead.
Yeah, can Josh Allen and the Bills upset Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs? I don't think we have to worry about the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are, gonna beat themselves eventually if the refs would stop showing up and helping them on a weekly basis. I have no problem saying that. Just because we see it on a routine basis. I think the Chiefs have probably the easiest road to get there. I mean, let's be honest. They have got the Bills, the Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, Browns, Texans, Steelers, Broncos. That's to finish their season. As for this weekend,
3 games. Yeah, 3 games that will probably be tough.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, do I think Patrick Mahomes, especially with this weekend, because they play this weekend, the Bills and the Chiefs, and so will
it's
the
in Buffalo?
Bills in Buffalo?
Yep, in Buffalo.
Oh, nice.
So I think the Bills beat the Chiefs this weekend. I think they take their first loss.
And I would like to add too, Mark, on that. I was been digging and like really researching the Chiefs. Obviously, we see them maybe going to the Super Bowl. A lot of people have been spectating going to the Super Bowl. They may or may not. But if you look at every single game, right? Winning because of a coin toss, winning by likely stepping on the line, winning by a field goal block, winning by, they're winning by the skin of their teeth. In all reality, the team should be 2-7.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They should be 2-7. When I did all the research and see what games did they win, which games did they got help, right? We'll just say help. And a lot of those games they won by the skin of their teeth. And I projected them in that time frame in the 9 games, they should be 2-7 right now. So are they beatable? 100% to answer that question. Number 2, Josh Allen can't make mistakes. You cannot make mistakes against that. They still got a strong defense. Now, their offense is a different story. It's not like the same offense that they had before, even though they got the addition of Hopkins. But that defense is still a strong defense. If they make too many mistakes, they're going to give it right back to the Chiefs, and Chiefs are going to do what they do. There has to be a shootout like we talked about before with the Tom Brady era with the Patriots, right? So if Josh Allen can stay on his P's and Q's, score the football, don't score field goals, I can see them winning in Buffalo, and I can see them winning easy. And yes, I agree with you, Mark. I have them winning also this Sunday, and the Chiefs getting their first loss. But I also see them losing 3 other games as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what this. I don't know what this question means. Do you, Mark?
Thoughts on DJU? Are you talking about DJ?
Like the receiver?
No. What's that quarterback? He's in college. I can't remember his last name. He's the quarterback that was at Miami, if I remember correct. DJ
Collie? I can't see his name. His last name.
Yeah, he's
from
it's
Clemson.
like, yep, exactly. And then he went to Oregon State. He ended up going to Florida State. He's actually a senior right now at Florida State. What's my opinions on him? If that's what you're talking about, I will say this. I hope nobody in the NFL drafts this kid.
Why?
And we'll just leave it at that. We're just going
to leave it at that. I mean,
here's my question for you guys. This has been the biggest topic, and I said this last. I actually said this weeks ago, and when we had Javier on there, it got dismissed. I think Mark is on this bandwagon. I think we talked about it, and he was on this bandwagon as well. So obviously we see the struggles that are happening before we pick our top 5, guys. We're going to pick our top 5. And if you have your top 5 in the NFL, drop them in the comment box below so we can view them. Who do you have number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5 as we talk about this really, really fast? Yeah, so throw your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down there in the comment box below. And it says, hey, couldn't agree more, Mark. Couldn't agree more. Mark's a smart guy. Mark is a smart guy. But
I know college, guys. I know college.
So what I want to talk about right here is we want to talk about the Dallas Cowboys real quick. So one of the things that we talked about before is should Mike McCarthy be fired, right? I think that's bad for the locker room. I think it's bad for whatever. I don't think that Dak Prescott.
We're going to get to this one right now, Elite Monster. We're going to get to this one right now. So go ahead and finish your.
So what do you guys think now? So drafting, I don't think that Shedeur Sanders. I think he's a second-year quarterback, not a first-year quarterback. But having that be said, Deion Sanders being hired by the Cowboys and Shedeur Sanders being drafted by the Cowboys as well as a package deal for this next year. What is your guys' thought processes on that? Do you think that that's like something that you think that will happen? What is your thoughts on that real quick before we pick our top 5 and answer one last question?
So I will say this, and I'm going to make it very clear. Do I think Deion Sanders is a very good coach? I think he's a good coach. I think he teaches his kids well. He teaches them respect and understanding the game. I think he was probably one of the best defensive backs in the game in our generation. People didn't want to really give him credit because he didn't have a big stat line. And I'm a statistician. I love statistics. But the biggest thing that I used to look at is I also paid attention. How many times did they throw the ball to Deion Sanders' side? It wasn't very freaking often. Because he was that good of a defensive back. He was that good of a cornerback. Especially in Atlanta, honestly, with the Niners and with Dallas. As for the combination of drafting Shedeur and finding a way to signing, Mike McCarthy's gone.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah,
we already know that.
Mike McCarthy is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but he does not have. The problem is he has players. He needs a young team. He has players on the Dallas team that there's too many egos. He cannot control an ego. That is Mike McCarthy's biggest problem. Shedeur Sanders. Here's the thing. I don't think it's going to happen. And the reason being is because, A, Dak is signed to a guaranteed contract of $240 million.
Which is a team option, though, right?
If I remember correct, no.
A club option. It's a club option. It's a club option.
No, because his contract, I'm pulling it up right now. I want to say his contract, I think majority of it is guaranteed. Yeah, 231 out of the 240 million is guaranteed. You're not going to sit there and see Deion Sanders go there and not take Shedeur.
Right.
He doesn't have a potential out until 2028. And every year he has a cap.
But Shedeur is not a 1 year. He's not a first year quarterback, anyways. So just let him sit behind Dak.
The problem is, though, Shedeur is going to go too high in the draft that they can't sit there because he's going to want that money. So they're going to have to fork out on a huge signing bonus. That's what a lot of people don't realize. They might be on a rookie deal, but if you're a first-round quarterback, you have a massive signing bonus.
Especially now,
and then after that, you're making pennies on the dollar. So I don't see them I don't see Shedeur going to Dallas. I don't. And I don't see Deion Sanders going to coach Dallas. That's my personal opinion.
I think for me, I think it's a great business move for both of them. If you're looking for the Dallas Cowboys, obviously not going to be a playoff contending team this year. I don't expect them to be there next year. I think this is definitely have to be a rebuild team now at this particular point. And at this point, if Jerry Jones is a businessman, which we all know he is, I would put the best people in place to make the money that he's going to lose if he's going to be tanking for those next 2 years. I think it's a great business move by bringing in Deion Sanders as he brings in the revenue, as we've seen that he did for Colorado. We've obviously seen it for Jackson, right? So, and again, like you said, he's not a bad coach. I mean, he could get a locker room put together, and the things that he does, these guys work hard for him. That's not the claim here, but the claim here is selling jerseys, selling tickets, putting butts in the seat. People are going to want to see Dallas football again. Regardless if they win or lose the first year that he's coached, they're gonna get that money. Right now, I think the best candidate though for that position will be a Bill Belichick or somebody like that. But business-wise, because it's a rebuild and you want to make that money, I think Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders will be your best option. Obviously, we see Micah going to the Philadelphia Eagles next year, so we don't even have to worry about signing an extension with him. You're probably gonna see something crazy happen in the offseason. But on a business move, I think that would be the smartest business move. I would do that move just to make that money as I rebuild, have Shedeur sit behind Dak for a year, and then see what we could do after that. But that's just me.
like I'm going to ask this question though. Honestly, would you want someone to sit behind Dak Prescott, knowing the ego that he has?
I think because who Deion Sanders is and Shador is, I think that it's not going to matter because they understand the assignment. Eventually, Dak is going to be, sitting midseason or whatever. Shador's going to get a shot, right? They just messed up with the contract. They messed up with that money. How do we get that? So, in a business sense, right? I spent 200 and X amount of $1 million. How do I get that back in the time that I have? That we're not going to be selling tickets if I don't get the right people. We're not going to be selling jerseys. There's not going to be nothing going on for the Dallas Cowboys to make that money back as fast as they want it coming back. Um, so for me as a business dude, I know that, and I'm like, how can I get that 200? I messed up. I messed up this year by signing this dude $200 million. How do I get that $200 million back? I'm gonna go get Prime. I'm gonna go get Shador. We're gonna do commercials. We're gonna sell jerseys. We're gonna put butts in the seat. We're gonna make this rah rah. We're gonna put this all over social media. We're gonna make this money back in the first year of them being just their presence being there, and then we'll make decisions after that when we get this money back. That's just what I'm thinking. And I think Dion will do a good job of controlling that ego of Dak Prescott. Hey, bro, like we here now. You know what I'm saying? He's done it before. Travis Hunter and Jackson, one of the biggest egos, right? And he's been humbled. So, I mean, it's not like he hasn't dealt with
I
it
mean, but
before, and he actually dealt with it his whole entire life. Deion Sanders what was that dude? You know, he's him. He's the Hemi Award, right? So I don't know. We'll see what we have to do with that. I know we're going a little long here, but let's go
Let,
to
let,
this.
let's go to elites real quick. So we got Jared Goff through 5 picks and still won the game against the Texans by a field goal. So are the Lions beatable? Yes.
Okay, next question.
Well,
We'll go with
actually,
this one.
so are the Vikings Super Bowl potential? No. That I can tell you that right now because Sam Darnold. You don't know what Sam Darnold's going to show up.
And Sam Darnold is a good quarterback, right? We can all agree that he is a good quarterback. But
He's a decent quarterback.
yeah,
Yeah.
but Super Bowl caliber, I don't think so.
no.
Well, the problem that you have is for
Defense
Minnesota
could
to
get
make
there,
it to
but
the
not
here's the catch.
else.
For Minnesota to make it to the Super Bowl, you got to get past Detroit, you got to get past Philadelphia, you got to get past Washington, you got to get past Green Bay. That's thin. That's thin. I'm sorry. But as for the top 5, so elite, he has the Baltimore Ravens at 5, the Steelers at 4, Lions at 3, Bills at 2, Eagles at 1. That's not a bad list. He flat out said, "Screw KC." I respect you, bro. I respect you.
That's
Dupree.
funny.
Dupree, what do you got on your top 5, man?
Are you going with him first?
We're going with him. We're going to get this nonsense.
That's not Mike Tyson. We're not talking about the Logan Paul
I'm
Mike Tyson fight on Friday.
I just asked what
this isn't the Dodgers are not.
The Dodgers already won.
Right? And when it's the Giants, it's not the San Francisco Giants, it's the New York Giants. So make sure
I know. I know. My list.
All right, let's go. Let's roll with it. Number 5. What do we got, Dupree? What do we got?
My list is actually kind of the same as Elite Monsters, except for a couple changes.
Well, let me pull it back up. Let's see what you got. Okay, so similar to that. All right, what do we got? What's different?
I got.
Make sure it's fluent. Make sure it's fluent now.
I make sure it's fluent. Besides, I have Detroit at 1. I have Bills at 2. I have Eagles at 3. Steelers at 4. And my tie is at the 5th spot with the Ravens and the Commanders.
Of course, you'll throw the Commanders up in there, but
at least you didn't say the Chargers, bro.
I could give them that 5th spot because they are still winning. So they are kind of creeping up there because they are still winning and the defense is still there. Could they stay there? I don't know. It all depends on these last few games.
Oh, real quick before we go to your top 5, Mikey, we have another question. Is
Where are we
Sam
at?
Darnold back to his old ways? My answer to that is watching him play. I don't think he's back to his old ways. I just think he had a bad game. I think Jared Goff had a bad game. I mean, every QB is allowed a bad game. I mean, Caleb Williams, he's had 7 out of 9 bad games. So, I mean, but I'm going to leave it there. So, no, I don't think Sam Darnold's back to his old ways. I just think he struggled this weekend, and it was unfortunate. But it did. They still were able to do what was needed to get done and beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. It just was not pretty. So, but Mikey, let's get back into the Chiefs are always cringe. I'm old, bro. I don't know what cringe means. I'm old, bro.
Like an ick. Like
Yeah, it's like ugh.
Oh, okay.
Like grinding your teeth, cringing,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I don't understand some of that. What does Minnesota do with Aaron Jones next season? I think Minnesota would be smart to re-sign Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones has the
keep him.
potential of being, you have to keep the running back. I think with him, he's going to end up having a little less on his contract, in my personal opinion. But there's not a lot of good running backs that are coming out in the draft this year. So that's why you've got to keep Aaron Jones. Him teaming up with the Cam Akers, and even having Ty Chandler in there, it's not a bad setup. So me personally, I think they re-sign Aaron Jones. You gotta be crazy not to. He still is probably one of the top. He's for sure I'm going to say in the top 8 when it comes to running backs in the NFL, especially when he's healthy. So the only problem that they have is that he's not scoring a lot. He really isn't. He's actually only got 2 touchdowns on the season, but he's only got 142 carries on the season. So they're not utilizing him the way that they should. Because if in 9 games you got 142 carries, that's not even you're barely averaging like 12, maybe 14 carries a game. That's it. So that's going to be tough. Alshon Jeanty for Jones. No, I think Jeanty is overrated when it comes to Boise State. Boise State has not played anybody.
That boy's a dog.
That boy might be a dog, but you can be good when you play nobody.
Just the way, just how he plays, man. That boy's a dog.
The Eagles have a better roster than the Commanders. Is that true? 1,000,000%.
They do.
I don't even have to have Mikey answer that question. We don't even have to list it. I can just tell you right now, I'm, the Philadelphia Bulldogs, they have a great roster.
Oh, come on, man. Stop playing. There's some Alabama guys on there too.
Fuck Bama.
Come on, man. It's a family show.
He'll never admit it. He'll never admit it.
All right, so let me go with my top 5.
Yeah, go with your top 5. Who do you got?
And you guys, raw content. Also, Alan Press. I think that's how you say it. Go ahead and put your top 5 as well. I'm gonna go with the Detroit Lions number 1. Until Thursday. We'll see what happens on Thursday with the Eagles, but I got them at number 1 for now. Even though I wasn't impressed with how they played this last week, I'm still going to keep them at number 1 because I got that 1 loss. I'm going to go with Philadelphia number 2. I'll go with Philadelphia number 2. I'm going to go with KC number 3. No. I'm going to go Pittsburgh number 3, KC number 4, and I'm going to end it with the Bills number 5.
All right.
That's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Looking back, I've got Pittsburgh at 1. Okay, but I'm gonna leave that there. So I'm gonna start at 5. I'm gonna go backwards,
Okay.
right? And KC ain't on my list. KC is not on my list.
Cool.
But
I
I will
like it.
say I've got
I could trade out Baltimore for KC, but right now we'll see.
I've got Washington at 5.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, even though they got that loss against Pittsburgh this weekend, I got Washington at 5. I have got Buffalo at 4.
Mhm.
Then I'm putting Philly at 3. Philly at 3, Detroit at 2, and of course Pittsburgh at 1. And like
Take
I
the Ravens
said,
all the way out.
and like I said, when it comes down to it, Philadelphia
Interesting.
wins this weekend. Philadelphia beats Washington this weekend. I have Philly taking over the number 1 spot when that happens. If the only way that I don't see that happening is if Pittsburgh beats Baltimore. If Pittsburgh beats Baltimore, that's my 1-2, and I don't even think I can put a 1 or 2 on either one of them. They would just both be 1, in my personal opinion.
We've never seen that here on the Sports Lounge. Anybody tied at anything, so that would be interesting to see if we get a tie. Okay, we got raw content jumping in, but let me talk to Mark a little bit about his top 5 before I release this. That's an interesting list, man. We'll see what happens with Baltimore and the Steelers. Obviously, the Eagles, and that they play this Thursday. That's going to be a really good primetime game. I know all of us are going to be watching that. I may go live, guys, at halftime, depending on what was going on. But yeah, that's going to be interesting. But let's throw this in there on the top. We got raw content saying that they got Philly at number 5. The disrespect. Whoa!
Jeez. And put the
Jeez,
Ravens
Louise,
above
what did raw content? What did Philly do to you? I mean, damn. What is Saquon? Does Saquon have to stick a double backflip on these guys? I mean, what else do we need to do? But nah, you got them at number 5. That's okay. We got them at number 5. That's cool. You got Bills number 4. Ravens, interesting. Ravens number 3, guys. He got Ravens number 3. Detroit number 2. Chiefs number 1. Probably Chiefs number 1 because they're undefeated. But that's cool. I'm gonna give you a C+ on that list.
Raw content has one more thing. He says, "What are the steps for the Raiders and the rebuild process?"
Quarterback. They need a quarterback.
They need a general manager. General manager.
No, they got Tom Brady. But listen,
yeah,
they need to start with the quarterback. Mark said something really, really good. That we really don't agree all the time. We semi-agree with each other. But one thing that we fully agree on is the fact that Brock Bowers is the next Travis Kelce, right?
100%.
Brock Bowers is the next best tight end in the NFL. We know that. They obviously need a commander. They need somebody who can command and lead the team. Minshew is a great backup quarterback. That's it. Your guy gets injured for a couple weeks. Need a guy to not make too many mistakes. You throw Minshew in there, right? But they need a solid dude. They need a solid quarterback to lead that team. Somebody with a little bit more experience. They say Tom Brady already has a guy picked out for next year. We'll see what that is. But they just need a couple skill players. Zamir White, I think it's Zamir White is a running back, right? Is it Zamir?
Yep.
Yeah, Zamir White, decent running back, guys. He's a decent running back. Not too bad. So I mean, making a couple adjustments there. I mean, you could probably, and the defense has always been all right. You know, they stay in games. And me and Mark, we talked about this in the beginning when we started the season. They're going to have some boring games, and I wish there was more boring games, but the defense is what keeps them in the games. But they need an offense that is at a high caliber that can score the football. That's the thing that they're lacking. We'll start with the quarterback on the rebuild. So to answer that question right there, raw content, starting with the rebuild, we're going to start with a quarterback, getting some skill positions, get some guys that are in there, get probably a guy from the draft, and then somebody who is legitimate, a veteran that can carry the team. That's not going to be like a diva, but somebody who can that you can spread the ball around with. And you got Brock Bowers, so I mean, you have an offense that will be loaded and be ready to go. So that's where I see for the Raiders.
Now I'm going to ask this question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you draft a quarterback? Because right now the Raiders are projected to be number 5.
Yes,
Okay.
draft the quarterback first. Draft
So
the quarterback.
you're saying let's develop a quarterback, and that means you're going to stay and rebuild.
I say you
They don't
re-sign.
have any. The problem the Raiders have, they don't have it. They traded away Devontae Adams, so so they have. I mean, their offensive line is probably one of the worst in the league. I mean,
but you can get an offensive
here's my
line.
thought.
You can get offensive line.
Do you draft a quarter with the top 5 pick though?
It's gonna have to be. It's gonna have to be.
You know what I'm doing with the top? Hey, you know what I'm doing with the top 5 pick?
You're probably gonna want to trade it away. You're probably gonna want to trade it away.
No. I'm not trading it away, but I'm not taking a quarterback in the top 5.
Who are you taking?
I would probably be looking at cornerback, probably like a guy like Will Johnson.
Nah, you don't need that. You need a quarterback.
That just listen. Go out and sign Sam Darnold, who's a free agent after this year, for like 10 to 12 million a season. Because we know he's not staying in Minnesota because JJ McCarthy's going to be back. So toss some money at him, and then all of a sudden you take a guy in the second round, a guy like Quinn Ewers out of Texas.
Hell no. Nah. You crazy? This boy crazy. Hell no.
I'm just saying, man. Quinn Ewers is the top 10 pick.
Run it. Let's get a quarterback. Let's see who Tom Brady gets. He says he has a quarterback picked out. We'll see who that is. But let's go on to the next. Everybody did their top 5 already, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's go with this next question we got. Dupree, you want to read that one out loud?
Okay. Will Philadelphia make it to the Super Bowl with their new and improved roster?
Mark?
With their roster that they have, I think the key for them to make it to the Super Bowl is going to be the injuries. A.J. Brown needs to stay healthy. He's missed a couple games. Devontae Smith has missed a couple games. Dallas Goedert missed a few games. I think for them to make it to the Super Bowl, it is going to matter staying healthy. We actually have,
and it didn't even help us that the fact that we had our bye week in the week 5, bro. That's crazy.
But as for my thought process is, can they make it to the Super Bowl? They can with the roster. I think it's their defense that can make it more so than because of their offense, because of the injuries and when their bye was. They have a more stacked defense than they do offense. The problem that I have is Devontae Smith has not played like a number 2 receiver.
Yeah.
He does have more receptions. But the numbers wise, the yards after catch, they just haven't been there. It's like as soon as he catches the ball, he's down. He reminds me a lot like lately. I mean, besides being about 6 inches taller, but he reminds me a lot of Ty Lockett. Let me catch the ball and go straight to the ground because he's afraid to get hit.
Do you think he could be an elite receiver in these last 8 games?
No.
Who?
Devontae Smith? No, I don't.
These last 8 games, do you think he can come back and be considered?
I don't think he can be an elite. I think he can go back to being the above average receiver.
He's been elite since he's been in the league.
That's
both of them.
I'm just like saying,
they both have 1,000 yards. They both had 1,000 yards every single year since A.J. Brown signed with the Eagles.
Well, it's easy to get 1,000 yards, bro, when all of a sudden everyone's focusing on A.J. Brown.
But I'm saying they both are getting it, though. They both are getting it, though.
Yeah, but A.J. Brown is balling it up. Like, I got no problem saying that. Devontae Smith has been getting the yards. When he's got the 1,000 yards, it's because they've been focusing on AJ Brown a lot.
And that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, there's a reason why
You're
he's
supposed to
the
pick
number
up the
one. There's a
slack.
reason why he's why he's paid. But
They
like I
both
said,
paid.
is he above average? I think he can go back to being above average. But as for the first half of the season, he's been an average wide receiver. You know, I would say a solid C plus B minus wide receiver as a number 2. That's my personal opinion. Let's go to the next one. Actually, we got Rock on saying, is Bo Nix the guy for Denver? I think Sean Payton is the guy for Denver.
Yes.
Yeah. Sean Payton made that, dude.
Sean Payton is going to do what he needs to do to make Bo Nix a good guy. So to answer that question is, as long as Payton is there, are they going to dethrone the Chiefs? No, they're not.
No.
You know, at best, they might be a wild card team. We were talking about that earlier.
But going back to Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith has 487 yards, and there's still 8 games left. He's on track to do another 1,000.
Yeah. Again, that's not difficult to do when you got a guy you have literally at running back. Oh, who do you have? That's right, Saquon Barkley. You've got AJ Brown. You got Jalen Hurts. You know, you got Dallas Scott. The offense that they have. I mean,
okay. So what other team has their number 2 getting over 1,000 yards?
Nobody.
Like a duo. Like the number 1 is getting their 1,000 yards, and number 2 is getting their 1,000 yards.
Who has an actual number 2?
Wise.
Who has a legitimate number 2?
Texans. They had a legitimate number 2.
Who?
So they both had, was it Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell? They got 3. You got Jets.
Stephon Diggs is on the downside. Stephon Diggs is on the downside of the career.
And then you got Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson and Lazard.
And here's the catch: Nico Collins and Tank Dell. Neither one of those guys are actually number 1s. You have 2 number 2s, and Stephon Diggs has now became a number 2 at best.
You got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
T. Higgins has been on the downside of his career.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of them.
Jamar's been getting more passes than anything when it comes to that one.
Let's go to the next one. No, let's not go on with
Aaron Rodgers. What's going on with the Jets? All I got to say is Aaron Rodgers. Discount double check. That's all I got to say. They need to discount double check his freaking contract is what they need to do.
That's for sure.
Are the Cardinals better than the 49ers? Yes, right now they are.
Yeah.
When they get healthy, that's a whole different conversation. But as of right now, if you ask me today, they're absolutely 1,000% better than them.
Yeah,
and
I'll give you that.
I think.
But I want to go back to this number 2 wide receiver thing. So you brought up T. Higgins in Cincinnati. T. Higgins right now, 341 yards receiving. He's only played in 5 games. He hasn't played a full season because of injuries. Okay. Brandon Ayuk, he's missed a couple games for injuries. You know, because you got him and Debo. Debo's missed a couple games because of injuries. You know, when you look at it, AJ Brown's got 553. And don't get me wrong, AJ Brown can get it. He's averaging 92 yards a game. Now, in that 92 yards a game, he has missed 2 games. 3 games.
3 games. They both missed 3 games.
You know, so can he still get it? He's got how many games left? 8?
8 games left.
7. So he's going to hit the 1,000. Okay. Devontae Smith is only averaging 61. He ain't going to make it, bro. 60. If he's averaging 61 yards a game times 8, that's only going to be 488 yards. So he's going to be short.
He'll hit it.
He's going to have a couple 70-plus yard games. Like I said,
he's only 40 on that average. He's only 46 yards short. So he's going to have one. All he has to do is have one huge game and just hit his average.
You know, But
And
he
remember,
hasn't.
they're playing the Panthers. We're still playing the Panthers. We're playing the Giants. We're playing who else are we playing? The Giants, the Cowboys, the Panthers. So I mean, there's 3 games right there. Each team, both all 3 of them. I mean, they could all ball out. You know what I mean? So I mean, I think they both will hit it. But let's go on to the next question. I don't know if this is. Can the Dolphins come back?
Come back.
Maybe.
Come back from what?
I think it's
What, to
a
come
little
back
too
to get the
late.
playoffs, maybe, but no.
I mean, raw content. We go live every Tuesday night at 7:00, man. You know, we're right here on YouTube. We also have a
Yeah,
Twitch channel. You can also replay. So just subscribe to us, and every time we go live, it'll alert you. But yeah, no, we're here talking all sports. We don't just focus on the NFL. We talk all sports. And that's one of the things that we all have we voice our own opinions and our personal thoughts, but we also have open minds. Except for when it comes to Caleb Williams. We don't have an open mind about him because we already know he's a bust.
Oh, come on, man. Here we go.
Oh God.
You can't hit the man when he's
He's gonna keep hitting. He's just gonna keep punching him down.
stressing me out.
I will
But
say
anyways,
this. They want to say it's a coaching issue when it comes to Chicago. Hey, they just fired the offensive coordinator, so let's see what happens now.
Let's see.
Well,
we take that out. We take that away if he starts balling out.
bro, he's going to be lucky if he wins one game.
Answer the question. If he starts balling out, are you going to retract that comment?
What, by then that it's not been the coaching?
No,
not being the coaching and that Caleb is a bust.
No, Caleb was already a bust in my book.
Oh my
you
God!
already talked about this last week when I
Hey,
asked you last
raw content. Hold on. Raw content. He said that Mark just said that we're here with open minds. This dude had him checked out before he even stepped on the field. He said we had open minds. Oh my God. Okay. Anyways,
not at all.
Let's see what he says.
All right, man. Raw content. Looking forward to it. Appreciate you, man. You have a blessed night. Appreciate the questions, and it's always good having these feedbacks.
Yeah, we love it. We love it. We thank each and every one of you guys for jumping on. We appreciate y'all. Remember, like, share, comment.
Real quick. We got one last comment. We're gonna finish it with this one. What's the weaknesses of the Chiefs?
Their offense.
Yeah, that's just
their defense.
Their defense is strong, brother.
Their defense ain't that strong.
Their defense is strong, brother.
I will tell you the strength of the Kansas City Chiefs is it's called the Zebras. No, it's called the Zebras. It's called they're playing 15 on 11 every week.
Yeah, it's a referee. It goes referees, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, lucky catches, lucky throws, and then their defense.
I mean, I don't know if you all saw this, but did you all catch the hot mic and actually Patrick Mahomes was straight up saying, like, hey, can you guys let me know when the defenders get close? What the? You're going to know when the defenders get close when they light your ass up.
Right.
Come on, man. It's a family show.
You're the one in the game.
Anyways.
Yeah. But no, man, we appreciate y'all. We have fun doing this. But hey, don't forget, hop back on us. Man, I can't even talk. Sorry. Hop back on with us next Tuesday at 7:00.
There you go.
Man, I'm tired, guys. I'm tired. This is what happens when you work too much.
Yeah.
But no, hey, don't forget to subscribe and like. Share our content across your social medias. The replay gets posted up every the next day. So take that, man. I appreciate if you guys go ahead and just share that content. We do have our Facebook page. We also have our Instagram. You can help us get our Facebook page up. We need to get more followers. I think we need like 50 more followers. So this way we can start going back live on those because Facebook loves to make new rules for those that are going live. So now we have to have a certain amount of followers. So help us reach that point. So follow us on Facebook, like I said, but we are here live every Tuesday night at 7:00, talking about the week in sports. So again, we appreciate y'all. We hope y'all have a blessed night. And on that note, peace out.
Peace out.
See y'all later.